Hello, and welcome to another Monday Morning Nuggets episode. It doesn't have to be a Monday, and it doesn't have to be a morning as you're listening, but that's the name. I'm Becca, and here I share quick tips to help reshape your mindset and reinforce a healthy perspective. Side note, a healthy perspective is key, especially when dealing with challenges and staying motivated to keep doing your best. So sit back, enjoy the episode, take notes, and let's dig deep. The topic for today is silence. Now, this is just fresh in my head, and I just felt like talking about it, but I'm definitely going to write a longer, more detailed article about it, and I even have a topic already: silence, your gateway to discernment, and post it on my blog, busywithbecca.wordpress.com. If you didn't know I had a blog, now you do. If you did, I'm sure I'll definitely notify you when the article is up. Yes, I just wanted to talk about silence, and I felt really strongly about this, especially in the past 2 weeks. And I felt like I needed to remind myself and remind people around me on the importance of silence. I feel like not everything needs to be shared. It's important for us to be guarded, to watch our words. We don't have to explain ourselves to everyone. We do not have to complain about everything. We do not have to share our feelings about everything. We do not have to give our opinions on everything. We do not have to share our conversations with other people. I'm learning that we all need to do better. So myself, the people I interact with, the people I'm close to, we all need to do better. We need to keep the mystery alive and just let the knowing happen naturally. Let it happen organically. We don't have to ask all the questions in the world just to get perspective on things, just to understand people better. When you're silent, you read the room, you read the other people, it opens you up, opens your heart up. And I just wanted to speak on that. So why is silence important? These are my opinions. This is how I feel. Therefore, I'm sharing. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. It's okay. If you have that's fine. So what does silence do for you? Silence opens you up in the spirit. Silence opens your heart up to hearing from God. When your brain is not all over the place, when your mouth... So when I talk about silence, I don't mean being a chatterbox and then just talking here and there. No, that's not what I'm referring to. Please don't misunderstand me. Even quiet people are not necessarily silent. So this is a very specific... It's a very specific thing, kind of silence. It's not just, becoming mute. No. You're still the same person you are or you were. You can still be as open and as talkative as you've always been, but it's just in terms of being sensitive to your space when it comes to words, things you say, and how you say them. So that's what I mean by silence in this instance. So silence opens you up in the spirit, and I can personally say that the times I've gotten a word is when I was silent. I was in a silent space. I wasn't with any gadget. I wasn't watching TV. There was just peace and quiet in my mind, in my heart, in my environment, and things happen at those times. But let me know. I'll say this later on. Silence shields you from influence. Let me explain. When you share your feelings or share your emotions or share things that are going on in your life with certain people or with other people, you are exposing yourself to influence, which is not a bad thing. If you speak to the right people, you get encouragement, you get guidance, you get the right words you need in that moment, which influences your actions and your perceptions and your thoughts and the way you move forward from that thing. But if you're unlucky and you open yourself up to the wrong kind of people, they project their negativity, they project their fears, they project their worries, and it's not always from a place of jealousy or wickedness. They're not trying to be wicked to the but it's just that they are in a really dark place and you're not aware of that, you now open your own darkness. Your darkness now melts with their own darkness, now brings up a deeper darkness, and then you're almost like trauma bonding. Please save yourself from this. And you never really know. You don't always know. So, but you can't go wrong with just being silent and keeping things more to yourself than looking forward to unburdening yourself. I'm not saying unburdening is not good. If I encourage people to speak, I encourage people to talk to me, but yeah, let's be guided on knowing when and where to do that. That's what I'm talking about. Now, silence helps you with creativity. It helps you open yourself up to just going with the flow when you're trying to create something, when you're trying to come up with ideas, when you're trying to solve problems. If you're busy, if your brain is busy, you have monkey brain. That means your brain is all over the place. If your mouth is all over the place, you're not taking time to just be quiet. You are blocking yourself up to so much creativity, so many ideas and great things. Next thing is silence helps you reflect. Silence helps you introspect. Silence helps you ponder. Silence helps you process things better. There are no distractions. There are no external influences. It's just you, yourself, your thoughts, and your heart. And that's a beautiful place to be. Now, next thing is... So, actually, the reason why I keep saying next thing is... So, I didn't script this, but then I had some pointers because I didn't want to be all over the place. So, next thing I wrote was, what's the worst thing that could happen when you're being silent? I feel like you can't really go wrong with being quiet. People will misunderstand you, true. But then they can't hold on to anything that you didn't say. And I remember writing it somewhere. I said, I don't know if I saw this somewhere or if it came to me, but I wrote, one of the best ways to not say something wrong is to not say anything. It sounds so like a profound thing, so I think I read it somewhere or I heard it somewhere, but it resonated with me on a very deep level. One of the best ways to not say something wrong is to not say anything. You cannot go wrong. No one can misquote what you did not say. No one can misunderstand what you did not say. They can interpret your silence in so many ways, but then they can't hold you to anything and be like, well, but then you promised this and then you said this. No. So silence is always a better option. But then when you say the wrong things, relationships have been destroyed from saying the wrong things. When couples, in the heat of the moment, say nasty things to each other, that I can't. It's not nice. Say nasty things to each other, and then when the tension has cleared, they'll be like, oh, I didn't mean it, or it's you meant it. You didn't mean to say it to the person, but out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. You can't. I don't know. You words don't just pop out of nowhere. It may not have been something you actively thought about. It may have been a passive concern or passive thing you've kept against your partner, and then it now comes out and you're like, oh, or when they are joking and they just say stuff that they shouldn't be saying. I'm like, oh, I didn't mean it now. I'm just joking, my dear. You meant it. You didn't mean for it to hurt me. You didn't mean for it to come out the way it did, but then it was there. You are thinking that thought. You won't look at something that is orange and mistakenly call it purple and say, oh, I didn't mean to call it orange. Sorry, I didn't mean to call it purple. Deep down, you know that it's orange, and you say it was orange. That's how you feel. Well, anyway, I sidestep. So back to what I was saying. My next point was going to be silence in quarrels and in anger. When you're angry, the very best solution to anger is silence. Excuse yourself. Maybe before that time, or just simply say, oh, can I get back to you on this? I'm not in the best of moods. Can we have this conversation later? The worst that happens is that the other person will get upset, but then you've not said something hurtful. You've not said something that you have to fix over the next couple of months and years, or it even becomes something unforgettable. Silence in quarrels and anger is priceless. because once those words come out of your mouth, they cannot be taken back. And once words come out of your mouth, there are emotions connected to these words, and you lose control. You lose control. Like I said before, you can't go wrong with silence. That's my belief, and I'm looking to be countered on this. I'm looking forward to that. Please counter me. The worst that I've seen happen when people are silent, and this is not personally from me, it's maybe interactions with other people, is that when they have said nothing or I have said nothing, it's easy to fix. Friendships are easy to fix. Family relationships are easy to fix when neither of you have said hurtful things to each other. So I don't know why this silence in quarrels and anger is really deep on my mind, because I can't even think of an instance where that was an issue. Anyway, so maybe it's for someone out there. When you're angry or you're having a disagreement with someone, please just keep quiet. You don't have to walk away if walking away is seen as rude by the other person, but that silence will save you so much so much restitution later. Now, I feel silence keeps you mysterious, keeps them guessing, makes life less boring for the people around you, because they're like, what's she thinking? What's he thinking? Oh, I wonder what he thinks about this. Oh, I wonder what she thinks about this. I wonder what you're all about. But when you're an open book and everybody knows everything, it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. This is you. Okay, can we move on to the next thing? So, yeah, silence helps you stay mysterious. And, yeah, that's just it. But let it come naturally. Don't just be weird and be like, I'm not going to tell you this. That's just, don't do that. Stop that. Now, another thing is you're less emotional in silence. I'll use myself as as an example in this instance. When I was younger, it hasn't happened recently, I think, but when I was younger, I found that when I was upset and angry, as the last one, obviously, you can't really express yourself. You just keep quiet. But then when I get asked, what's wrong and what has happened, when I try to explain, the tears just come rushing out. They just come gushing, and I can't even explain myself. I can't even talk, because now I've opened my mouth and the emotions, uncontrollable emotions, are just out. But when I notice that when I'm quiet and I don't even say I'm angry or anything, I'm just quiet, I'm able to control my emotions. So this is on a lighter note, but then it's still relevant to what I'm trying to say. Now, silence, like I said before, helps you not say the wrong thing to the wrong person, or even the right thing to the wrong person, or the wrong thing to the right person. Silence shields you from this. Silence shields you from embarrassment. You don't need to prove yourself. So you know how embarrassing it is to be in the midst of people and to say the wrongest thing just because you need to fill the air with words, just because silence makes you uncomfortable. You don't have to fill the room with words. Just be quiet and get comfortable in the silence. Nobody will die. Full stop. Yeah. When you're silent, you hear more spiritually. You see more. You understand more cues in other people. You are able to be environmentally aware because you are being observant. When you are silent, you are observing, you are watching, you are like a lion just staring at their prey, So you understand people's cues, you read people better, you listen to their subliminal messages, you listen to what they are not even saying, and you pay attention to what they are saying. You're not listening to respond. That's a very common thing with human beings. Sometimes when we're having conversations with people or we're having interactions, we're not really listening because we want to understand the other person better. We're listening so we can respond or counter that thing. Now, if you're silent and you're comfortable in your silence, you start to listen to understand people better. It makes you a better people person, in my opinion, because you understand them better and you're able to relate to them. I hope that made sense. Silence gives you time to process things. Like I said earlier, if you're having an altercation with someone, I feel it's necessary to say, oh, please, can I excuse myself? Or can I get back to you later on this? Or do I have to speak now? Or apologize, please, I really don't want to say the wrong thing. I hear you. I understand that this is serious. But can we talk about this later when I've had time to process? Because I really don't want to offset this dynamic that we have, this relationship that we have. And then you go back, you take the time in silence, process, and you come back. That is such a sweet thing. So if you've heard everything that I've said and you're like, I aspire to be this person who is more silent, but then I struggle with silence. I feel like I have to say my mind in the moment. I feel like I have to share the story that comes to me. Yeah. So I'll give you a few tips on what you can do. First and foremost, for me, is to advise you to take it up with God in prayer. Whatever is bothering you, whatever is on your mind, whatever thing is so pressing that you need to share with someone, just go and unburden yourself with God. Let it all out in God's presence. Speak to God and just express yourself and say, God, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through. This is what I'm thinking. And just let it out. That's the whole conversation between you and God. The second thing I would suggest is write it in a journal. So if you struggle, I'm more of a paperback person, so I like to write things down, feeling my pen, feeling my paper. I feel more connected with myself. So if you're worried about privacy, then get an app on your phone that you can lock so nobody is able to read it, and just pour your heart out. Everything you would say, even in anger, in love, in whatever, everything you'd have said out to another person to hear their opinion, just pour it all out that day. In fact, date it, pour everything all out. You'll feel much lighter afterwards. So no holds barred. You're not worried about someone else reading it. So just properly say your mind. Days after, go back, reread it, and you see that there's a difference. When your mood is different, be like, I'm glad I didn't say this, or I feel much better, and then just make it a habit. So have a journal. Another thing, if you're really feeling the hurt, let's say it's a bad experience, or even good, I've making it sound so negative. So when you have so much good news, that's another thing. You don't have to share all the good news with everyone in the moment that you get it. Pace yourself. So even with good news, when you hear something great, you don't succumb to the impulse to just, who's the first person I can call and tell this, or who's the first person I can give this gist to, or it will even help you with your gossiping issues. Yeah. So find other ways to release your energy. Maybe focus on your physical well-being and exercise more. Enter the kitchen and cook food. I don't know, do something, right? Take a drive, talk to yourself. Yeah, there are so many things you can do, so research that on your own time. Another thing is to detox yourself from your phone. Now, our phones, because of social media and everything, it's a noisy environment. When you're scrolling, you're just pumping your mind with noise, seeing different people's lives, or things you want to do, or romance you want to explore, or businesses you want to try. All this is noise. So learn to detox yourself from your phone and from your devices. Same thing, you watch a movie or you're watching TV, like you just need to be watching, seeing. That's a bit much. So give yourself time to stay away from these things, to create some distance and let your brain breathe, let your mind relax, and just be quiet. So I think this is quite important. Sometimes in fact, I dare you, can you think of a time recently or in the past year where you intentionally dropped your phone, dropped every other gadget, laptop, tablet, turned your TV off, and just sat down in silence, in solitude, locked your door? You're not writing anything. There's no book. You just sat down there in stillness. And this is not just before you sleep. Everybody obviously has to turn stuff off before they sleep, and there are a few minutes between that wakefulness and sleep where you just ponder. No, this is intentional silence. When last did you do that? I'm sure it's been a while. So, in times of silence, be more present and pay attention to what you're doing in the moment. Connect with your activities. So let's say you drop the phone, or you're trying to disconnect in some type of way. Whatever it is you're doing in that moment, try to connect with it. You're eating food, savor each bite. Notice how your teeth feel as you're chewing. How do you feel on the chair or wherever it is you're sitting? Just be aware of your body and your environment at that time. Be aware of your thoughts. So what am I thinking about? Why am I thinking about this? Like, just go inside yourself. Go in. And then there's this saying where a noisy mouth comes from a noisy mind. The people and things you expose yourself to influence you in more ways than you think. Now, I wrote this down. I don't know if it came from my head or if it's a quote I saw somewhere. Sometimes, when you think about profound things, there are times when you're just like, did I really say that? But no, I don't think I said this. But I can't really tell. I'll Google it afterwards and let's see where I sourced this from. But yeah, okay, I digress. So to end all of this speech and monologue on silence and introspection, I have a challenge for you. I would love for you to, every morning for 5 days, let's start with 5 days, to time yourself for 5 minutes. So you're taking 5 minutes every morning to sit in silence and meditation. Now, this is exclusive of your prayer time or your quiet time. This is different. This is an intentional block of time dedicated to sitting in silence. So you set your timer, sit upright comfortably, and take deep breaths. So the difference between deep breaths and shallow breaths, obviously, is that you feel your breath in your core, you feel your breath in your belly. So when you inhale, your belly goes in, chest rises, your back contracts, shoulders lift up slightly. And then when you exhale, you feel your shoulders relax, chest collapse slightly, and your belly expands. And it feels like you're pushing air through your back. That's a deep breath. So other things are happening from your waist down, but I'm just focusing on the most obvious cues to deep breaths. So you take deep breaths while keeping your mind quiet, and don't force the silence. Initially, you're going to have monkey brain, like I said before, where your mind is going different directions. You're internally laughing at yourself, like, what am I even doing? Or you're thinking of the time, what you could be doing with that time. Please don't do that. It is just 5 minutes of 24 hours. You still have 23 hours and 55 minutes to do everything else that you need to do. These 5 minutes will not take away from that. So don't force your mind to think in a particular direction. Just sit in silence and observe your thoughts. If you find yourself drifting to your to-do list or anything else, refocus on the present by paying attention to your breath. So bringing your attention back to that breath and how your body feels in the moment. I promise you that this is a game changer, and it helps you be more intentional and teaches you to let go and just be. So I would encourage you to try it for 5 days and see how you feel at the end of this period. If you can let me know, I'll appreciate that. That'll be so nice. But yeah, so that's all I have to say this morning on silence and giving yourself room to introspect. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took notes, and I hope it wasn't too long. But then I had a lot to say. Thank you.